I'm getting ready to go to my usual spot, but I felt like I needed to talk about this real quickly. I mean, granted, yeah, I don't have a live platform anymore on TikTok because I refuse to change my settings to public from privacy. Hey, at the end of the day, I really don't care much if I have a following basis or I don't have a following basis because the main point of me making these videos is for me to get the message out, right? It's not to be just like those content creators, that are antagonizing each other, that are, starting content wars amongst each other, that are degrading themselves on video in order for them to get some likes and some followers. I could care less about that shit, really, to tell you the truth. But I'm here to talk about a few things. I'm here to talk about pride, and I'm here to talk about being a follower. Let's say pride first. Now, a lot of you guys are probably religion church-going people, right? And you guys been told that the reason why Moses did not enter into paradise was because he broke the 10 commandments when he came down from Mount Sinai after 40 days. And in the burning bush gave him the 10 commandments, right? All right, y'all believe whatever y'all want to believe. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I was Jehovah's Witness too myself. So, hey, I guess you could say at some point when I was a little kid, I believed these things as well. But, when you're no longer a little kid and when you're a grown-up, and like I said, it's not age that make you a grown-up. It's the experiences that you've gone through with life that makes you a grown-up. Now, when you're a grown-up, if you still believe in the same childish bullshit shit that they used to teach you in Bible studies, then, you haven't grown at all mentally, maybe physically, but mentally you have not been grown. And if you know, you know. I'm not going to sit here and educate you as to why Moses did not enter paradise. However, let's just say it wasn't the fact that he broke the tablets of the 10 commandments, because the 10 commandments are nothing but man-made. Similar to the 7 cardinal sins. They are man-made. They're just there to enslave you mentally, and they are there to keep you at a restriction from you ever pushing yourself further than what was being told to you as a generational trauma or generational curse. However, let's just say that he did not enter paradise because of the simple fact that he allowed his pride to get in the way. And his pride wasn't so much of the simple fact that he broke the 10 commandments, but his pride was more the fact that he thought that he was the all-be-all. Being the fact that he was the only person that was able to receive revelations from the burning bush. If you want to believe that bullshit. But hey, Hollywood will depict everything for you. Make you see things the way they want you to see things. However, let's put this into perspective. I have to cut it short and do multiple for the simple fact that Instagram now is cutting my videos to 3 minutes, and I don't want this shit to get fucked up. So I'm going to do multiple, of these videos so I could get to the point. Now, pride. He didn't get into paradise because of his pride. Hence the reason why a lot of individuals right now want me to act out of my pride. Because for the simple fact that of the knowledges that I have in my brain and that I was born with, a lot of people want me to act superior than others. To be quite frankly, the knowledges that I've incurred, aside from the ones that I've been born with, anyone who are acting in their divinity could obtain this knowledge. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. There's a whole lot of shit that you got to do. Similar to how the mental Bible tells you how Jesus separated himself from his parents and he said that he had to go do his father's work. Yeah, it's something similar to that without going too much into details, right? Because after all, like I said, I'm not going to educate my enemies. So for them to go ahead and take whatever I gave them, and then they're going to change the narrative and change the whole perspective of what I just said to make it look like that I don't know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. The ones that's in the know, they already know. And if they don't know, then let's come sit down and have a parlay like they used to say from back in the days. Let's parlay. And we could, discuss exactly why certain things are the way they are right now, especially when it comes to history of distortion and this so-called destiny swapping. But anywho, Moses did not get into paradise because of his pride, which is how everybody wants me to react based on the knowledge that I have. They want me to act or superior, similar to some of those, spiritual leaders who are acting out there that are monetizing this so-called awoken little bit of the knowledge that they have when it comes to the Akashic Records, when in actuality, nobody really knows everything, because the Akashic Records is a multifaceted knowledge from multi-universal, multiverses that not one person could absorb all this information. However, one person could be the conduit to the source of all this information by acting within their divinity, which is the reason why a lot of people fear me right now, because, I could see things from a mile away before they could even speak, not only because the energy speaks for them, but, I'm a shaman, like I said. I could see shit, and I'm also a seer, and I could predict shit. Now, I could predict a lot of shit and act almighty, but no, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to awaken the masses. And awaken the masses doesn't mean me acting superior. Jesus, from back in the, old ancient days and the draconian days, he didn't act all superior to the masses. No, he was trying to help the masses to understand certain things that he had already known from isolating himself from the entire world, that he were able to tap into the source from which he was born with. Because, come on, let's be honest with each other. The only reason why Pharaoh, from even back in the days, was looking for the firstborn son is because the so-called witches and warlocks from back in the days had already read the constellations and read the tarots, and read the astrologies, and were able to depict when Jesus was coming. Yeah. Similar to how a lot of chosen ones was already depicted on what they were here to do. Why do you think the Illuminati or the Freemasons catapult certain individuals to a certain status quo, even though that individual may not be able to harness the skills that they need to harness in order for them to be in that position? Not mentioning any names, but the ones that all were in the position that harnessed that level of the skills. Now we're talking about the Tupacs, we're talking about the notorious B.I.G.s who was turning his life around. We even talking about the latest prophet that they crucified and murdered, which was Nipsey. Because these individuals was there, and their influences is there to wake up the masses to a different status quo, to make them realize that the governmental system that is created to govern us doesn't really have the power that they're supposed to have. The spiritual power. Not that man-made shit that they stole, that they so-called talked about the 1200s or whatever, the bullshit, his history narrative that they want to let you know about when they burned down the Library of Alexandria and stole the scrolls, which they've been deciphering ever since, which they've been manipulating ever since to their own, to their own needs and benefits. Hence the reason why you see nothing but reoccurring governmental bodies, even though, let's take the president for an example. I'm not bashing him, but at his age, he should not be president. But he's president for a reason, because the old draconian days want to make sure that they have somebody that they could control within the power. If you know, you know. Like I said, I'm not going to educate my enemies anymore.